Shelter Me is a series that celebrates that beautiful bond we have with our pets.
Shelter Me brings to life stories that remind us that we have the power to make a difference by getting involved with our shelters and helping get more pets adopted.
I believe in adoption. That's why I'm excited to share stories that celebrate shelter pets.
Shelter Me is a series of inspiring stories that celebrate the difference these pets can make in our lives.
Right now, there are so many pets like Sammy in shelters across the country, and they need our help.
Shelter Me is about the lives that are changed when shelter pets are given a second chance.
Your love can shelter me. There's nothing it won't bring. Open your heart and breathe.
Jeff, thank you so much for adopting a shelter pet. Remember to tell all your friends this is the best place to come and get a pet.
She'll tell them too.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, we're going home. Let's go.
Thanks. Have a safe drive. All right.
Come on, you. Ah, you got her.
Yep.
Shelter Me has been on the air for 6 years now.
It's available on your local PBS station, but what's great is that it's also available online on shelterme.tv.
Stephen Latham is the creator and the producer of Shelter Me. I think Shelter Me is really telling those stories of what great places are. I mean, they're, Shelter Me, it's love stories. There's nothing but love stories at the shelters.
When you turn around and see what happens to both the young men and the dogs because of this training program, quite honestly, it takes my breath away. To see what you've accomplished in 10 weeks, based on your commitment and hard work, to learn patience, responsibility, compassion. You can do so much with what you've learned. I'm really counting on you to do that because hopefully the dog has taught you something, and I really look forward to you being able to teach other people on the outside of how they can make great family pets out of loving shelter dogs. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Stephen Latham and the Shelter Me team have a great eye for inspiring stories.
In animal shelters, we often do a lot of amazing work, but we're not very good at telling those stories, and that's where Stephen comes in.
The interesting thing was they showed up on I believe it was a Monday or Tuesday, and they wanted to start filming that Friday. He was a yes guy. Everything that I came up with that might have been a barrier, Stephen had a solution for, and I could tell that he really wanted to save these kittens. So we already have a crowd out there, and they're missing s'mores. They'd rather see the kitties than have s'mores for the snack. That says a lot.
He gives so much when he works with a shelter or a program because he knows that how he tells the story will have such an incredibly huge impact if he tells it the right way.
Well, I do a comic strip called Mutts, and in it, twice a year for 2 weeks, I do stories about animals in the shelters called Shelter Stories. And he thought it would be an interesting idea to actually film me going to a shelter and doing stories about the real animals that were there. And Stephen was very strongly committed to doing it at the New York City shelter and the ACC of NYC. And boy, I'm so glad he was committed to doing that because it was one of the most amazing weekends of my life. He was a very good student. He was high-fiving, God, within a minute or so, then he would get a treat. And boy, I'm sure Wisteria is going to find a new home.
I don't think there's any separation between Stephen the producer and Stephen the animal advocate. If you've ever seen a picture of Stephen or been with Stephen when he's around animals, it's almost as though he's never met a dog in person before.
Scooter. I absolutely love this dog.
I think he even gets more excited during the play groups than some of the dogs do.
Right, Beethoven? Good boy.
Everybody say meow. 1, 2, 3, meow.
The stories featured on Shelter Me are fantastic because they show that there are so many different ways to help shelter animals.
Getting cats adopted quickly, going to the shelter, getting more cats out.
Working Dogs for Conservation is a small Montana nonprofit, and virtually no one knows us. So working with Shelter Me really put us on a national and even an international stage and told our story beautifully.
It's a very good job because now found an ivory.
Shelter Me, in episode 7, Stephen highlighted Vika and Sarah, and I think they both would say thank you for telling the world how we're saving the world and how we're saving elephants and rhinos and wildlife in Africa.
If Shelter Me pets could speak for themselves, they had a voice, I think they would thank Stephen.
Stephen, you are an incredible lifesaver, and on behalf of the animals and people here at Pima Animal Care Center, we want to say thank you.
If shelter pets could talk, I think they'd say to Stephen, thank you so much for seeing us. You know, sometimes shelter pets can be out of sight, out of mind. And what's unique about Stephen's approach is that he brings them to the forefront in a very positive way.
So if shelter pets could speak about Stephen Latham, I think what they would say is, Stephen, because of people like you, we do have unconditional love. And it's because of people like you that we still have faith in human kindness.
Congratulations, Stephen. Thank you for including us on this journey, and keep up the good work.
Shelter Me.
Improving lives
one shelter pet
at a time.
Please enjoy these stories, and thank you for caring.
Share